Let's be honest about this right off the bat. When it comes to creepypasta, the chances of reading something that isn't about an old or obscure video game are pretty low. The idea of an evil or haunted game is one of the most commonly used plots in horror storytelling online. We've seen Sonic EXE, Herobrine, Polybius, Pale Luna, and too many others to count. The topic is incredibly popular and, some might say, overdone. But every fad or popular movement begins somewhere. An artist or creation that sets the precedent and kickstarts the trend. The name of the originator for this kind of trend is one you already know and know very well. You've heard of the Ben Drowned creepypasta. You've seen all the narrators online who have told the story to millions of listeners. You might have watched the videos with their millions of views. You've seen the jokes and the images and the references by Let's Players. But unlike so many stories that came in the wake of Ben Drowned, the experience doesn't end when the creepypasta narrator's video track runs out. In the same way a copy of Majora's Mask held a much deeper world of discovery, so does the tale of Ben Drowned. One of the most unique and ambitious online alternate reality games ever attempted hides under the surface of this creepypasta milestone, and just as its creator is getting ready to launch the third and final act of the game, we're embarking on a mission to put all the pieces together. Are you ready to hear the full story of Ben Drowned? Close the door, turn off the lights, make sure your antivirus software is running smoothly, and open your night mind. After many months of viewer demand, it's time to finally tell the story. This is Ben Drowned. On September 7, 2010, a visitor to 4chan's paranormal board posted a plea for help to readers. He swore that what he had typed wasn't a copy-pasted joke and needed everyone to listen. He was having trouble with a video game, specifically Majora's Mask. Having just moved into his dorm room at college, the writer didn't have much for entertainment besides what was immediately available to him. In this case, what he had was a Nintendo 64 system and only one game. During his first weekend at the dorm, he drove around a few neighborhoods nearby, visiting yard sales on the off chance he could get more games. He got lucky once or twice, finding some titles he recognized before noticing one last odd setup outside an otherwise normal home. Only one table had been placed out front with a few odds and ends on it. No one was nearby. Upon approaching the table, the writer was greeted by an old man with a strange, almost off-putting atmosphere about him. The college student asked if he had any old games, explaining he was trying to collect some, and after initially denying that he did, the old man said to wait a moment and walked into his garage. As the man dug through his belongings, the student examined the items on the table. An odd series of paintings that looked quite a lot like inkblot tests, including one resembling a silhouette of Majora's Mask from the Zelda game of the same title. The old man came back after a moment with a game cartridge, a copy of Majora's Mask, but with no original title sticker on it. Instead, the name had just been written down with a marker. To the student's surprise, he was given the game for free and, not being one to argue about a gift, said goodbye and headed back to his car. I thanked the man, and the man smiled at me and wished me well, saying, "Goodbye then." At least, that's what it sounded like to me. During the car ride home, I had a nagging doubt that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game and there was one save file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben. He was saying goodbye, Ben. I felt bad for the man, obviously a grandparent and obviously going senile, and I, for some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben. The student went on to play the game on his own save file and performed a type of glitch used for extending time needed to complete the story's mission. It worked, but upon leaving the area, he entered an extremely unexpected location with no characters in sight. From this point, the writer experienced an ongoing series of oddities, with pieces of the game missing, music playing in reverse, and events occurring in spots they were never meant to take place. All the while, an object from the game named the Elegy of Emptiness kept following him around. This was a statue that could be summoned for puzzle-solving efforts and was made to look like an ugly clone of the main character, Link. At several points, the writer attempted to run from the statue, which kept reappearing behind him. While running through the empty town center, the game teleported him to a new location with the game's villain floating in the air. After shooting him a few times, the character lifted Link up and set him on fire as the sound of laughter played. He was reset to the same spot, and after running around a bit more, set on fire again. A third attempt to remove himself from the situation using a magical instrument gave the same result. When the game screen returned after the third death blackout, Link lied motionless on the floor. An ominous message appeared a moment later. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? On the loading screen, the writer saw that his game file was no longer there. It had been replaced with one called Your Turn. Opening it up brought him right back to a shot of Link's body. A return to the file screen from there revealed another change. A new file titled Ben. How is it that we have video of this? The writer realized how significant this all was halfway through the oddities taking place and began recording before the statue started chasing him. The video was uploaded to YouTube under his account, titled Jadeusable. Jadeusable follows up the very next day on 4chan, posting that he had a dream the night before about the Elegy of Emptiness statue following him. Early in the day, he went back to the old man's house where he was given the copy of Majora's Mask. No one was home, but a neighbor was outside mowing his lawn. Jadeusable asked him about the old man and was told he was moving. He had no family living with him and no grandchildren the neighbor was aware of. But if that was the case, who was Ben? Jadeusable asked. The man's expression turned grim, and I learned that 4 doors down, around 8 years ago, on April 23rd, there was an accident with a young boy named Ben in the neighborhood. Shortly after, his parents moved, and despite any further attempts to talk to the man to get more information, he wouldn't divulge anything else. Jadeusable went back to the dorm room, and, despite his fear, turned on the game. The playthrough he recorded featured a very broken model of Link accompanied by very corrupted audio. Eventually, the Elegy of Emptiness appeared over Link's form, and a countdown began before the scene suddenly shifted, returning a cutscene with a mask vendor character. Another shift occurred, placing Jadeusable outside with 3 characters, including the statue and vendor. He tried to solve the situation by selecting the magic instrument and playing a spell called the Song of Healing, which only resulted in Link bursting into flames. The scene shifted to a new location, with Link wearing a mask that turned him into a sort of mermaid. His horse was reacting to the ocean with fear, a clear indication that something was out there. Jadeusable sent the character underwater, where the Elegy of Emptiness statue sat on the ocean floor. After lights began to flash on the statue, Link began drowning in mermaid form. Upon returning to the file selection screen, a new piece had been added directly under Ben, a game saved under the title, Drowned. The 2 save files told me his fate. As I suspected, Ben was dead. He had drowned. The game obviously isn't through with me. It taunts me with the new save files. It wants me to keep playing. It wants me to go further. 2 days later, Jadeusable came back, feeling much worse about the whole situation after following some advice from readers. I've stayed up all night. I can't sleep. I don't care if people see this. That's not the point. I just want the word to get spread so I don't suffer for nothing. I've lost the will to type about this. The less I dwell on this, the better. I think the video just speaks for itself. I did what you guys told me to do. I played the Elegy of Emptiness song at the first prompt by the game I was given, but I think that's what the game or Ben wanted me to do. He's following me now. Not just in the game, he's in my dreams. I see him all the time, behind my back, just watching me. It talked to me for the first time. Not just using text that's already in the game. It spoke to me. Talked to me. It referenced Ben. It talked to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it wants. My original game file is back, just the way I left it before it was gone. I don't want to play anymore. I feel like something bad will happen if I don't, but that's impossible. It's a video game. Haunted or not, it can't hurt me, right? That's what I keep telling myself, but every time I think about it, I'm not so sure. The accompanying video shows Jadeusable playing the Elegy of Emptiness, after which, every encounter that can result in a text prompt says the same thing. You shouldn't have done that. Jadeusable tries many different actions, all resulting in the same phrase until the screen goes black and a new message appears. Ben is getting lonely. Link is sent next to an open area with a single tree on a hill. Once at the tree, backwards music begins to play, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue appears, followed by a jump scare screen of the mask vendor looking furious. A new message appears. You will be given one last chance, back to where it all began. Come play with us. The title screen reappears, leading to the save file screen. The original file used by Jadeusable, Link, is back in place underneath Ben's. Another 2 days pass by. When communication picks back up, it's not from our narrator, it's from his roommate at college. Or in this case, former roommate. Jadeusable had moved out after a very rough start to college life. It had barely begun before he packed up and headed home, and although his roommate didn't quite understand why he was staying in his room all the time, barely eating, and just not talking, he is finally beginning to put things together. I tried talking to him several times, but he would cut me off or keep the conversation brief when I asked him about his strange behavior. It was like he was convinced something was haunting him. Yesterday, I came to grab my philosophy book and he approached me, looking awful, these horrible bags under his eyes. He handed me a flash drive and gave me specific instructions. He told me that he needs me to do one last favor for him. He finally explained to me what has been going on, gave me the info to his YouTube account, and told me that he's getting away from here, that it lured him to play it again instead of trying to change things, that he shouldn't have done that, and to upload the footage and inform people what happened. I told him that he could do it himself, and he got this wild look in his eye and told me that he is never looking at that game again. And that's the last thing he said to me. He never even said bye when his parents came to pick him up. On the flash drive, there was the footage of the game last night, a text document with his name and password for YouTube, and a third document called thetruth.txt containing what he told me were his notes that he'd taken. He told me that this meant everything to him, that I follow his instructions exactly. I've had this video since yesterday. After watching it, I had to go back and look at his other videos to realize what was going on, and even then, I'm really confused. The video I'm releasing tonight. The Truth.txt will be released on September 15th, just like he requested. I haven't dared peek at it yet, so the first time I see it will be the first time you see it out of respect to my friend. To answer your questions, no, I haven't tried calling him yet. I think I'll give him a call tomorrow to see if he's okay or not. He should have gotten back home by now. The final video actually starts off a bit more normally than we're used to. Things aren't so haunted in appearance, and the music is playing forward. Jaduzable plays the game through as Link, and everything is going smoothly until he checks his inventory. Inside, he finds a picture of the mask vendor and the Elegy of Emptiness. He drops the photo from his inventory and proceeds into the next room, where a creature teaches him the song to summon the Elegy of Emptiness statue. After playing, the statue appears, and Jaduzable is left to fight a monster while trapped against a wall. He doesn't stand a chance. The monster approaches and cuts him to pieces with a loud, violent slash. Link dies and the scene cuts to black, leading to this. We then open to Link in a graveyard, reading the inscriptions on tombstones. He comes to one that reads, "A vessel that holds wandering spirits rest here," and you can spot a very familiar figure standing behind it. Link falls through the earth and we receive a new quote accompanied by the laughter of the mask vendor. Link then faces a twisting hallway that changes in rotation as he heads forward. In the hallway, he encounters the Elegy of Emptiness, and the game freezes. The title screen loads again, followed by a quick return to the file saving space. The file previously marked Ben has now been named Matt. September 15th couldn't come quickly enough for readers of the story. Jaduzable's roommate delivered, releasing the file titled The Truth on the promised date. Revelations spilled forward from the text, the first of which being that we've been played by an unreliable narrator this entire time. While Jaduzable was typing his messages and recording gameplay, the spirit in the game, Ben, was guiding our entire perception of the events by manipulating text and video. Jaduzable kept research notes that quickly turned into a diary detailing events behind the scenes. Revealing information begins from the first day that the story came online. 3:46 p.m. Could have sworn driving back from Subway that I saw the Elegy statue buried in some shrubbery staring at me go by. Now I definitely need sleep. 6 p.m. Connected my capture card to my computer to upload the footage. Thought my computer froze for a second. Made this strange popping sound when I hooked everything up, but now it seems to be working fine again. My computer can't die on me now. 8:45 p.m. Thought I saw an icon pop up on my desktop that looked like the statue's face for a split second. Gave me quite a scare. Getting really unnerved and delirious. I'm going to crash after this. 9:03 p.m. I don't remember having uploaded a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video last year. This was probably the account that I shared with a friend of mine last summer. I hope he doesn't mind me using it to upload this. This is an important moment to focus on. Before uploads began for videos of Majora's Mask, the account already held 2 videos. The first was a clip from a game called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, in which the player approached a character named Rosa, a fortune teller. Though most of her statements don't seem to make sense, there are pieces to pay attention to, and one you might already recognize.
Why is he smiling? The father. Is it the father behind him?
The other video contains footage from a game called Prototype in which the player assumes the role of Alex Mercer, a shapeshifter that violently consumes other people to change forms. Remember this for later. Going back to Jedusible's secret file, we find his condition growing worse the day after his first video upload of Majora's Mask. 2:45 p.m. I've been getting random, inexplicable headaches due to the lack of sleep and keep hearing that song in my head. Also, it's flu season, so I need to be careful not to get sick. My immune system is going to be shit right now because of that all-nighter. 3:02 p.m. My computer just, on its own, opened up a text document and wrote the words hi and www.cleverbot.com by itself. I went to the website. It's one of those bot chatting programs. Jedusible had a conversation with Cleverbot that quickly showed there was definitely something talking back, and it was not an automated program. The other user admitted it was messing with his computer and only wanted one thing: to play with him on that game. Majora's Mask? Jedusible asked them. Yes, the user replied. I played with you. Jedusible demanded to know who he was talking to. The answer? Ben. The statue? You're inside my computer now? Yes. How? You connected me. How the hell did I connect you? Cables and cords. The rest of the chat reveals that Ben is capable of opening and manipulating files and programs on the computer. He is having fun with Jedusible and will continue to let him write his notes. It's amusing to see what he thinks. 3:50 p.m. What have I done? I've invited it into my computer. I continue to write these notes, write my summaries, and I feel like I'm a prisoner in my one place of security. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hallucinating or not. I feel like I'm fucking insane right now. I can feel it, watching over me, even as I type this. Ben is controlling everything in the game, toying with me, leading me like a sheep. But for what? What's the purpose? I know Ben drowned, but why these hauntings? What am I even doing? He could probably even see this right now. Ben called me the Cleverbot again. He tells me that he's sorry and wants to be free, and that I can free him. That just like how he got on my computer from the capture card, he can spread. But he needs my help. He says I am special because I can help him. That's the first nice thing he said. He promises to leave me alone if I do it. He swears he will. I don't know what to think right now. How can I even trust this thing? I'm terrified of it, but now it's saying that it was just having fun. It's twisted up version of fun. He's saying that the game is over. I do want it to be over. He says that he just wants to be free, that he's trapped in the cartridge and my computer and he wants to be freed. I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I don't know how long I can deal with the watching. It's watching my every move, every keystroke. I have nothing private anymore. It knows everything that's been on my computer. It tells me that if it wanted to, it could do horrible things to me, but it hasn't, so I should trust it. Ben called me the Cleverbot again. I ignored it and went to go take a shower. When I came to my laptop, I was welcomed with an image of the Elegy statue staring at me with those dead eyes. I don't want to talk to him. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. Fuck you, Ben! I'm not talking to you! It's been more than half an hour and the messages have stopped. Ben has stopped. I'm beginning to think that Ben isn't confined to just my computer or cartridge. I'm beginning to feel something. It's hard to explain it. I've never been spiritual, but there's something different about the air in my dorm room now. I'm beginning to see the Elegy statue randomly as I search the internet in places I shouldn't. Places where he shouldn't be. I'd be scrolling down and suddenly I'd be staring at a picture of the Elegy statue. Always the Elegy statue. I don't know how much more of this I can take. The following day, Jedusible realizes that Ben has tampered with his post for the second video detailing events. Pieces have been removed that mention Ben existing outside the game, and something Jedusible wanted to tell us about the Moon Children is also gone. He tried to contact Ben on Cleverbot, but got no response. That night, he had a dream about the moon children who wore masks to hide hideously disfigured faces, maggots crawling out of their orifices, sunken black holes where their eyes should be. 2 of the children held him down while the mask vendor came and sewed a mask to his face. The moon children then took Jaduzable's transformation the rest of the way, turning him into an elegy statue. He woke up sweating, crying, and shaking. Jaduzable ran to the computer and went to Cleverbot. Ben finally answered him and expressed he was having more fun. Fun to play, fun to toy with you, make you feel safe. He wanted to know how he would have reacted if he hadn't revealed himself and stayed hidden, only doing little things to play. He wanted to do something different with him. You did this before? Jaduzable asked. Yes, and I will do it again. To who, Ben? Did you know Ben? Won't tell that information to you. How did Ben die? You know. No, but how did he drown? Won't tell that to you. Why? It is reserved for another. 12:04 p.m. My room is beginning to feel different again. There's something out there. I feel really threatened, like there's something that is trying to reach out to me and strangle me, but it can't quite get there. I think Ben doesn't want to play with me anymore. I'll play again. I'll play the game again. Ben, can you see this? I'll play the game again. Please, just stop this, please, please! I'm going insane trying to decide what is real and what isn't. Is Ben just playing a trick on me, or is this for real? Is Ben generating these replies, or are people actually posting them? Did I just see that screen flicker, or was it my imagination? Imagine depending on the internet and trusting your eyes for your entire life and then being blinded. You can't rely on it anymore. You second-guess everything. For the brief moments I am looking at my responses to the videos, people were pointing out things that looked fake or photoshopped or whatever. There's literally no way for me to know if Ben changed something on purpose to try and shut me up. Or if maybe those replies were just constructed by Ben to try and discourage me from even reaching out. See, I get fucking caught in an infinite mindfuck loop like this, and this is what has been wearing out my sanity and pushing me to the edge. As I'm writing this, there's no way of even telling if anyone even cares as much as I think they do. Just another fucking trick. Does this whole document even exist? Am I writing nothing? Who have I been talking to? The day of the 3rd video upload, Jaduzable claims that Ben has censored him again. 11:55 a.m. There's an entire video summary of a video that I don't remember doing. Reading through the summary, this sounds morbid, resembling my dream from 2 nights ago except on a far more sadistic scale. These moon children, there's something more to them, almost as if they're another entity from Ben. Something happened last night that I can't remember. I'm posting the 4th summary to the forums now. The shadow of my chair moved. Ben won't let me visit YouTube. I can browse the rest of the sites, but he keeps on exiting the window when I go to YouTube. Why? I'm feeling the air start to constrict. I don't think I'm alone here. Whatever aura has been here is getting more violent. I'm trying to contact Ben on Cleverbot. He's not responding. I just get the AI. My ears aren't fooling me. I'm hearing the reverse song of healing. I keep hearing it. Now I'm positive of it. Earlier I thought it was a weird coincidence, but just now I went to open my window and 3 floors down at ground level I saw the old man. I'm completely positive I did. The same guy. He was just staring up at my window, standing in the middle of campus. If any students took notice of him, they didn't seem to acknowledge it. This is where Jaduzable's notes end. The rest of the document is from his point of view with full knowledge that it's going to be his last communication to readers. I fled my room, taking the cartridge with me. I don't want to go into details of what happened. I'll lose my train of thought as I hammer them out. It's been roughly 2 days since then. This is my last summary and service to you of the final video you guys saw, Matt.wmv. Except we know that the final video was called Jaduzable.wmv and only had a save file at the end marked Matt. Ben broke into the upload process again, making sure we didn't see the beginning. During the video, Jaduzable, now known as Matt, gave in to hints from Ben telling him to learn the Elegy of Emptiness song, convinced it would end the game and put a stop to Ben's torment. The result led Matt to believe it was over, and he decided to leave it all behind after writing his closing thoughts on a library computer. I've emailed myself the notes I have stored on my infected computer from the last 4 days. I'm then going to combine those notes with the closings and openings that I've typed here on the safe public computer into one text document. I'm not taking any chances spreading Ben. I would not wish this on anyone, and I've made sure to have my bases covered here. I didn't run into any problems with Ben when I was back on my computer trying to email myself the notes. Went right under his nose. He has no idea what he just let me do. Had no problems opening the text document from my infected computer in my email either. That said, do not download any of my videos or anything about my videos. I don't know how he can spread, but I know that just watching them on YouTube or reading my text won't be able to allow him to do it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed my help in the first place. But I strongly recommend you do not take anything you see streaming online onto your own personal computer. This will be my last posting. I'm putting it up on this forum for the world. If you see any further posts from me after today's current date, September 12th, and after the current time, 12:08 a.m., discredit them. It's already been proven to me that Ben can access my account and password and manipulate my computer. And like I said, I have no idea to what extent it can do this, but know that it will do anything to break free. He is desperate. To ensure your safety, just forget about me, please. This 5th day will be my last day. I'm going to burn the cartridge and then come back to destroy my laptop. Again, even though I don't even know you, this is sort of bittersweet for me. This semester I really didn't have any friends. Or rather, I stopped paying attention to them. But I suppose I'm partially to blame because I'm the genius who chose to live in a single. I suppose someone to get a hold of me and save me before I got too immersed into this game would have literally saved my life. I'm just glad it happened to me so I could get the warning out and make sure that Ben dies here. Lastly, thank you for taking the time to open this and open yourselves up to me by hearing my story, despite maybe not believing me. You didn't have to do that. Really, you shouldn't have. Your support this entire time has kept me going, and now I am finally free of this. I suppose I'm partially to blame because I'm the genius who chose to live in a single. This means that Matt never had a roommate for his dorm. He's been alone the entire time. Who uploaded the final post then? I'll give you just one guess. Our unreliable narrator means we don't know Matt's condition after all. He may not be as safe as we had hoped. The same day the document titled The Truth was uploaded, a new video was posted under Jadeusable's account, free.wmv. Readers were at a loss for how to proceed from here. Ben was free, and all along he had more power than anyone realized. Thankfully, activity opened up on September 17th, beginning with coded messages on Jadeusable's YouTube activity log. Deciphering the codes led readers to a website, youshouldn'thavedonethat.net. Through initial investigation by readers, it was discovered that the website belonged to a cult named the Moon Children, worshippers of the goddess Luna. This was an operations and communications base for members of the cult, and though information has been lost after the site went down, early investigators did manage to save a good amount of material. Do bear in mind as we explore that the website was a piece of the game. No matter what it contained at the time, it's just an addition to the story. According to the homepage, the Moon Children consider themselves Luna's chosen, who will be the sole survivors of the coming apocalypse, and they possess extraordinary powers of spiritual energy. Immediately below the welcome text, we can spot posts from moderators that let us know the site is brand new. 3 of these mods have pictures wearing masks, and the Moon Children say they've been active for a while but have started a new site and may have some impending traffic they're aware of. The mods mention an ascension date, which has been assigned to the second poster, Neko, known by the real name of Chris. He posted on September 15th saying his ascension date would be tomorrow. It's all I can really think about now. My family can't understand why I'm so excited. The other mod, Duskworld, mentions another interesting bit of information. Please guys, don't make Mr. D upset. This may be related to another moderator who posted next named Drowned and wrote, "You shouldn't be reading this." Hovering over his avatar changed it to a picture of the elegy of emptiness. Neko posts the next day, thanking everyone for being like a family to him. He is excited to be ascending at last, and writes, "I still feel like I'm gonna pinch myself and wake up at any moment. I already have everything I need to go there. It's like all my life I've been waiting for this moment when I can finally achieve what I was meant to do. Keep this site running strong for me while I'm gone. I'll be back to come get you guys soon." 2 hours later, a post from Duskworld comes through claiming that Chris had a successful ascension with no complications. It really warmed my heart when I heard the news, and I'm sure it will for you guys too. Actually, I don't exactly have our logs out here in front of me, but I think Chris was the youngest person we've ever had to a successful ascension, which makes sense. Chris was always mature for his age. We're all really happy for you, Chris, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. Now if only he would start talking to me. The guest book from the site contained more casual conversation between members of the Moon Children, and if they didn't come across as troubled individuals already, a few of the posts confirmed the depth of their issues. A Moonchild writes about losing their mask, saying, "I was freaking out. Seriously, sometimes I just get so used to it on my face that I forget to pick it up if I put it down." Two other users placed back-to-back replies discussing their urge to kill several people before ascending, and one member even offers to join another in a mass murder spree. A page named The Creed actually contains 2 of them, with instructions for any participant to be wearing a mask. The Initiation Creed also involves drawing blood from initiates before they can receive a mask and join the Moon Children. Another page marked Theories contains reoccurring theories on the end, and has entries on Mayan, Hindu, and scientific ideas of the apocalypse, all leading up to the final entry, the Luna Prophecy. Dating back to 1998, a Moonchild named Kelpris received several whispers from Luna herself. Rather than ascending him, however, these whispers informed him of how the end will come about. The whispers were brief and vague, detailed below. They break free of the prison, engulf the world. Man will be betrayed by its minions, and I will be brought down from the sky, consuming everything. It's worth noting that the number 3 is reported by Kelpris to have been said numerous times, sometimes in between words, sometimes even between letters, so it's assumed that there is some kind of significance there. Kelpris was later found electrocuted. Whether it was foul play or an ascension was never determined. Although transcended, Kelpris' discovery has made him a legendary figure within the Moon Children, and much of the Order today is based off of that prophecy. At least now we can confirm what was already suspected of ascensions. They're just code word for death, be it by the hands of a deity, or suicide. The words of Luna stating she will be brought down from the sky, consuming everything, is exactly the nature of the apocalyptic scenario in Majora's Mask. Link is in a race against time to prevent the moon from crashing into the Earth. And this brings us back to the video for the game prototype from earlier. Do you remember how the main character, Alex Mercer, had to consume others in order to transform? Note the use of the word consuming in Luna's prophecy, and then take a look at these 2 posts from the site's guestbook. Gotta say I like the new site. The layout needs work, but it'll do. The important thing is that most of us survived the blackout. Anyone know what happened to Alex? I haven't heard from him. No idea. Haven't heard anything on his end. This correlation between the site and the prototype game might look like coincidence, and it would have stayed that way had viewers not discovered the existence of a Moonchild named Rosa. You'll remember Rosa as the character from the first video, from Vampire the Masquerade. The cult member named Rosa was found through personal contact with the moderator Ifrit to be his sister. Having had luck speaking to someone from the site after many attempts to do so, users emailed several questions, one of which asked about his real name. He responded with Rodney R, but another user who had been digging around found it listed on a secret page as Matt Hubris. A countdown clock had also been found on a secret page for a user named Ben. A question sent to Ifrit about Ben revealed that he had been a member of the cult and had ascended, but his body was never found. When the countdown on Ben's user page reached the final hour, the music playing on the homepage of the site changed from its original relaxing theme to something familiar. A fast version of the Mask Vendor's song from Majora's Mask. Players of the game who investigated the source code for the page saw that the song was called Matt's Final Hour. Just as the countdown hit its end, anyone who emailed Ifrit received a reply reading, "Hang on, someone keeps knocking at my door." It was the last message he ever sent. The countdown ran out, leading to an activity post on Jaduzable's YouTube account, a posting of lyrics from a song called Who's That Knocking? Ben's body may have gone missing, but he was still around to visit old friends. This also reveals the actual reason Jaduzable's last save file was marked Matt. It wasn't his real name. It was Ben writing down the name of his next victim. A video response was made replying to the latest video, Free, with a title made of the last few letters from Ifrit's contact page. Exploring the YouTube account that posted the reply, the link missing revealed the name of the uploader to be Alex, the missing Moonchild. The video was a recording of Link playing the Song of Time in front of the moon from the previous game in the franchise. The Song of Time has the ability to reverse time, slow it down, and speed it up. The end result of this action was a full reset of the Moon Children website, but when visitors took a look at Ifrit's page, all they found was a display of 3 elegies of emptiness and a question. expecting to find someone else. Just like a boss in the game of Majora's Mask, a character that was killed by an enemy would not reappear when time was reset. A new set of secret messages that were laid throughout the site indicated there were moves to make on the player's side of the story. One player sent a video response to Ben's last upload on JDoozable's account, which showed Link playing the inverted Song of Time, slowing down the countdown clock on the website that had caused Ifrit's death. Ben replied on the JDoozable channel with a cipher code that translated to the message, "You've begun to start thinking. You've begun to catch on. You've made a discovery today, but how long until that blessing becomes a curse?" This was a confirmation of how the game was meant to be played. Players could send gameplay in Majora's Mask using spells to create changes. The next move was a song called New Wave Bossa Nova, which allowed those without a voice to speak. This granted Rosa the ability to communicate with users through Ifrit's email, which had been switched over to the name Matt. It was discovered that she held the username and password to a page titled The Truth. Unfortunately, a player who disregarded the input of others involved in the game played the Song of Healing, the same spell that made Link burst into flames during JDoozable's uploads. The submission came very quickly after Rosa's appearance, and as a consequence of it being played, she spoke with a player saying she heard someone outside her door. Rosa gave up the username and password for The Truth, but the player wasn't quick enough to use it on the secret page and find information to help. Rosa met the same fate as the original account holder Matt, otherwise known as Ifrit. The community agreed to play the Song of Time after debating amongst each other to save Rosa, but they failed. New video tags appeared on the video for Vampire the Masquerade stating, "You didn't save her." Nothing found on The Truth could help them. Another user played a song that required special conditions in the game to be met in order to have any effect. As a consequence, Alex's YouTube account uploaded a video of Link being killed by his dark doppelganger, a message from Ben that he had been sacrificed by the player's wrongful use of the song. Other players submitted videos that successfully revived his character, and then sent him away again by using yet another wrong choice of spell. Almost immediately after all of this, on the morning of September 20th, an event on the original 4chan board that kickstarted the whole story took place, shaking all players out of the experience. Alex Hall, the writer of the story, maker of the JDoozable and Alex videos, and overall puppet master of the alternate reality game, stepped out of the shadows to reveal himself and hold an interview. Difficulties of time and finances were keeping him from continuing the game. As an actual college student, Alex was not equipped to keep things running. He had designed the website for the Moon Children himself, paid for hosting and maintenance, and done everything else involved with keeping the game up and running, and the strain was finally becoming too much. He admitted what steps players had been meant to make, and that the game had been flexible. Flexible enough so that you could make mistakes and lose main characters like Rosa and Alex, but still manage to beat it. The game was meant to mirror Majora's Mask as much as possible, with 4 reset cycles to mimic the 4 giants in the game. The video for Rosa, Vampire the Masquerade, was the initial ground for basing the story's prophecy and how events would be laid out. The prototype video was for keywords like Alex and consume, and to act as a metaphor in the way Ben operated. The point of the game? Put a stop to Ben. And for those wondering about that username, JDoozable, it turned out to be a mix of the names Judas and Abel. In as short a time as the next day, Alex gave the news that he had received donations that could allow him to continue the game in the near future, and on October 6th, the Moon Children website came back to life. Images of gas masks and people wearing them appeared, reminiscent of the profile pictures seen from the admin Drowned. Players came running back in time to learn about a scavenger hunt. By adding a number between 1 and 63 to the end of the web address, you could gain access to a new page containing a different file. Quite a few were password protected, and file 31 was missing. The site underwent several surface-level changes, with images of the Elegy of Emptiness appearing, messages coming and going, and other small transformations. Soon, players managed to crack the password to all files except for the 59th. Once that was broken into, a message was found from Ifrit declaring that he is not dead. Ifrit shared the message that Ben was growing stronger. The character of Link had been a kind of blockade between players and Ben, but even that protection had now been eliminated by the second video to come up on Alex's channel. They had to fight and keep trying to beat it using all the knowledge and clues they'd obtained. A ciphered message at the bottom called to a player by their real name, telling them they were in danger. This user was known online as Ryukaki. The next day, any user who had submitted a phone number to the site through the contact page began receiving phone calls from a blocked number. Some calls were audio of the Song of Healing in reverse, while others were the Elegy of Emptiness, followed by a voice telling them, "You shouldn't have done that." Ryukaki also began uploading on his YouTube channel, starting with the video Sounds, in which he tries to find the source of some strange noises in his home. Next comes the video Music, about a phone call he keeps getting.
No image. It's the same damn song and I want it to stop.
The two videos after this have Ryukaki explaining that he's being followed by something, and that his phone has been stolen. His story ultimately ends in tragedy with the release of a final video, Last Words, and a secret message to go along with it shared through Mediafire, the content of which essentially boiled down to the same thing Eifert said. Don't give up. Keep looking. There are clues you need to find. This is the point of the story in which the game began to break down. Updates for the next phase were delayed, with Alex informing players in November of 2010 that the final stage involved an actual game in development using Unity 3D. Delays were major enough that a public Q&A session was posted right on the Moonchildren website, officially turning it into an out-of-game resource for the first time. Alex had hired a small staff to help him create it, and it was taking a little while to put the game together. He was also paying them for assisting out of his own pocket. In January of 2011, the website became very largely password protected. Alex gave an update saying that the holiday release date he'd been planning for was unrealistic, and new ideas meant there would be a build-up prior to release of the game, but that required more time. In February, the website began to crash as hosting issues came into play. The JDusable channel was updated with a coded message to send players to a forum called Within Hubris, seeing that the old website was no longer stable for the game. Some of the users who moved over to the new forum received newspaper clippings and letters. The article hinted at Moonchildren misbehaving offline, and the message from Ben was just more intimidation and threats. Things began to slow to a crawl from here, with minor updates on the JDusable account and the Within Hubris forum. In July of that year, Alex officially announced that the project was off until further notice. The game for the third act wasn't finished, Alex had no more money to put into it, and many other factors were pulling him in several directions. The stress of it all and the complications were too much. Until it was ready to come back at full strength, the entire Ben Drowned project had to stop. Let it never be said, however, that Alex Hall is a quitter. To this day, work on the final act and the game for the JDusable ARG and Ben Drowned experience continues. It's been confirmed that the final act will be complete and released by the end of this year on his official Twitter multiple times. 6 years in the making, and Alex didn't give up despite the struggles he faced. Not only have you just learned about the original Ben Drowned experience, you get to be a part of the finale as it takes place. In 2014, Warner Bros. Announced they were teaming up with director Clive Barker to adapt Ben Drowned as part of a live-action series based on creepypasta, a landmark of success with the project that stands alongside the many millions of views on the original JDusable videos. Ben Drowned can be considered an alternate reality game that really is about games. It comes from the story of a haunted game, it's meant to be played like one, and to make progress in the story, players had to incorporate footage from a game. As previously stated, creepypasta regarding video games is nothing new, but the direction taken by Alex Hall and his dedication to staging the entire project goes above and beyond any haunted video game story to date. A full website, hidden files, coded messages, character interaction with players, and an actual game in development for the final act on top of videos? This is what passion and dedication looks like. As for the final mystery of how the gameplay videos were made, we have an answer to that. Alex used a program called Project 64, a desktop Nintendo 64 emulator that provided access to animations, textures, and script functions. Given the actual codes for actions in the game, he could script his own events and activate animations on the fly while recording. No evil video game cartridge involved, just a very creative and intelligent use of software. And that is the tale of Ben Drowned. Much deeper in its story than most people realize, and not quite over yet. I'll put the link to Alex Hall's YouTube channel in the video description where you can watch the original videos uploaded for the story. Just make sure you ignore the latest video, King Kong. That was an April Fool's prank that's still hanging around for some reason. It's not quite known exactly when the game is going to return, but I'll be on the lookout for updates. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, or Horrormino, and I'll let you know as soon as I catch word that the game is back on. That's all for now. Thanks again for joining me in the dark this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and just like that statue with the eerie smile, I'll be seeing you again real soon. Sleep tight.